It's not anti-Semitic. It's a question of fact. So Shlomo Sand, for example, has argued that, I think probably exaggerated, but it's simply a question of fact. If my ancestors from the Ukraine have Khazar roots, changes nothing. I'm Jewish. My grandfather was Jewish. My family happens to have a story saying that we're descended from the Baal Shem Tov. Okay, that's part of the culture. Doesn't matter what the DNA shows. We live, this is a point that Ahad Ha'am made over a century ago in his lectures on the two Moseses. He says, yes, there's a Moses of history, who may have existed, may not have existed. There's a Moses of culture, and that exists as a cultural phenomenon. And it's the cultural phenomenon within our cultural tradition, whoever Moses might have been, and if he even existed. Yes, that's true. We live in a world of cultural traditions. Makes no difference what the DNA says. So, okay, if the DNA says we're not descended from the Baal Shem Tov, hence back to King David, but we're descended from somebody in the Caucasus, makes absolutely no difference to our identity. We should stop this silly game altogether. It's maybe of some scholarly historical interest, but of no significance for the modern world. The modern world is the cultural entities that we're part of, okay? Social and cultural entities. And so we should throw all that aside. They can play with it in biology labs in Israel where they're intent on showing something absurd. But we live in this world with its own cultural, social, political structures. And in this world, I'm Jewish, no matter what the DNA shows. There is an actual existing world in Israel-Palestine. I've already reviewed briefly what it is. Sharp discrimination against Palestinians within Israel, illegal settlements in occupied West Bank, destruction of Gaza. Those are the major phenomena we have to deal with. And there are ways to deal with them. Sure. First, the term Greater Israel has nothing to do with the Bible, nothing to do with what might have happened 2,000 years ago. In fact, I've never heard that suggested until you brought it up. Greater Israel refers to what is happening on the ground. It's a description of what is happening as Israel has moved systematically to integrate parts of the West Bank illegally into Israel itself. That's what Greater Israel means. No genetics, no history, no Bible. That it's illegal is not a matter of selecting sources. It is selecting 100% of the sources outside of the Israeli High Court. Outside of that, there's 100% agreement, including the highest Israeli legal authorities like Theodor Meron, that it is illegal. No debate about that. We can put aside genetics. We can put aside stories about what happened 2,000 years ago. We can look just at what is happening on the ground. And it is very clear, no selectivity. Within Israel itself, there is sharp discrimination against Palestinians, which should be overcome. In the West Bank, there are totally illegal activities going on, which are creating a greater Israel integrated within Israel. In Gaza, it's a horror story. As far as American opinion is concerned, you're totally wrong. I live with this constantly. The shift from admiring Israel as a wonderful social democratic state in the 70s, declining later, took a sharp step backwards when Israel began its murderous activities in Gaza. I saw it right in front of our eyes. When I was giving talks on Israel-Palestine, I used to have police protection to protect it against Jewish violence. After Cast Lead shifted radically, Israel became a pariah, and it shifted very sharply. It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism in the United States, which is there, but pretty marginal, much worse in my childhood, much worse when I went to Harvard in the 50s. Very much worse then. That's not changed. What's changed is the activities of Israel. If Israelis want to blind themselves to the consequences of what they're doing, it's their choice. They're going to suffer from it.
No, if you're already on a few minutes extra, and maybe it's a little bit chutzpah, but many Israelis, what they say is, and this comes from an honest place amongst Israelis. What can we actually do to make a difference? The onus is on them because we've tried and they keep rejecting peace. This is a legitimately very popular opinion amongst Israelis. So I know you have to go, but if you could maybe respond in just a few words, what you think Israel can do today to actually progress peace in a viable sense, I think our viewers would love to hear that.
And I'll have to leave, and you can go on if you like.
Sure.
Within Israel proper, it's Israel's business, just like it's the business of other countries to deal with the improper activities that are taking place within them. So I think I have opinions about what Israel ought to do, but it's up to Israel to rectify the sharp discrimination against Palestinians within Israel. In the occupied territories, it's an international problem. Everyone has a stake. The fact that 100% of relevant opinion regards it as an Israeli occupation and illegal activities in the occupied territories makes it an international problem. And there, what Israel should stop to do is, first of all, stop the savage destruction of Gaza, allow Gazans to live like human beings in the West Bank, put an end to the programs of creating a greater Israel, which I say again has nothing to do with the Bible or history, but with the reality on the ground. Put an end to that, allow the Palestinians self-determination. I have my own views as to how the outcome should be, but we haven't gone into that, and it's not really relevant. That's it. That's what Israel should do.